Hey, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage, and we're back out here with the 71 Torino GT for the Power Tour. In this week's episode, we're focused on the front end suspension. It's got, everything's old, so we're gonna really just rip it all out and get it replaced. So, let's get to it.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say.
Hey, we're back out here, about to get to work. We're going to start ripping off the front suspension. So I've got basically newer lower control arms, upper control arms, spring shocks, and spring saddles on the way or already here. So I'm going to start tearing it apart in anticipation so we can get this thing better. We got a little bit of a shimmy or shake around 70 miles per hour. It's not horrible, but you know, it's enough to be annoying, make the drive a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, not really, but you know, it is what it is. But we haven't really dug into these. They're rusty and they're crusty, and you know, it's probably time. You know, probably need new ball joints, probably need new everything really. So we're gonna go ahead and start ripping it apart. Got 1-inch drop springs to go on there. I'm expecting it to be about the same height really, but we'll see. You never know. I mean, my experience with replacing springs is usually a 1-inch drop spring. With replacing 40-year-old springs will be about the same. So we'll see what happens. Let's get to it. Right, so we got the shocks off, which is a lot bigger pain in the ass than I remembered. And yeah, so they're spent. There is, I mean, you can pull them out, but Jesus, they just, no recovery whatsoever. They gone. So let me see if I can grab my light real quick. And it looks like the bushings are pretty much gone on these coil spring saddles, which we're going to replace those anyways. Ooh, I don't know about that either. That looks pretty rough. That shouldn't be like that, I don't believe. But we're going to replace these upper control arms as well. And these springs, they got so much gunk on them, it's not funny. And look at that. We're missing our stop. So we need to replace that as well. So that's your bump stop for travel and so on. So I think I've got another one of those laying around. I'll have to check. So, yep. About to see. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to pull this spring out or not. We'll test that out. Alright, we got the spring out. Probably going to stop from here. It looks like everything's dry rotted. I'm definitely going to probably replace these upper control arms. Put new upper control arms in and new saddles. These saddles are missing the pads on them, and the bushings in them are shot to shit. And these are my 1-inch drop springs versus the stock springs, so that's going to be interesting. And this is a 1-inch insulator pad I'm going to use, so yeah, this is going to be wild. Hey everybody, we're back out here. Me and my pickle fork about to get to work because we're continue working on this suspension. So I'm going to try to get at least the UCA off on this driver's side today. That's the goal, is to get the ball joint separated and get that UCA completely off and hopefully the new one on. We'll see how that goes. I don't even know if I have grease for it, so I need to double check that. I mean, I know I have grease. I just don't know if it's Ford Molly grease or not. So I'll double check that. But either way, it's what we're about to get to work on. So let's get to it. Alright, that was a pain in the ass, but we got the UCA out. And here's the new one. But of course our threads are finer on these old ones that have 2 washers on them, which they use to shim it, I guess you would say. And yeah, so this is a lot thicker thread, so I'm going to have to go buy some nuts for this. So fun times. All right, there it is. We got our new UCA in. Got our cotter pin and ball joint all put in place. It's still got to be greased up. We got to grease up the ends of this as well. They've already cut holes, as you can see, in the shock towers, which is a big no-no, but I understand. I got my spring perch in there. So now I've got to decide whether I'm going to put new LCAs in or not. Because after what a pain in the ass this is, I'm seriously debating on whether I want to deal with the LCAs right now. But on the bright side, my UCA is in. It's got to be torqued. I've got it torqued to 30 pounds right now. I think it's 60 to 90. It might be 90 to 120 on the inside. But I usually like to get my weight on the car before I do those, because that's what they always recommend. So, but it's another day's work. So I gotta yet again debate on whether I'm going to go ahead and do these LCAs, or if I'm just going to go ahead and start putting things back together and then replace my rotors. Because I feel like new ball bearings would probably be good, or new bearings in general, and new disc pads just in case these are warped. I mean, they are pretty old. You never know what's going on, but I mean, at least that's in here. And we're getting new shocks, new springs, new upper control arms, and especially this. Whew, baby, smooth. But yep, that's all for today. Hey, we're back. So, yesterday we left off. We got our UCAs installed. I was questioning whether I'm going to do the LCAs or not. So what I'm going to go ahead and start doing is I'm going to crawl under the car, check out the bushings, and really decide if I should do the UCA. The LCAs. I think I should, but I want to double check. If the bushing's good, I might leave it alone for now. The ball joint looks okay. But we'll check it out and see real quick. And if we're going to do it, which I'm probably going to do it, just because I've got time. So we'll go ahead and check it out and see what it looks like. Well, after checking it out, the bushings didn't look bad, but I decided I was going to do the LCAs anyways. But then I tried to loosen the strut rod, and yeah, I can't get it to come even budge. So I'm probably going to let it soak and think about it. In the meantime, I'm going to go move on to the upper control arm on the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get that all that stuff removed on that side and see if we can get the UCAs in over there. And we might just leave the LCAs alone, just simply because I need a better air gun, which my other air gun broke, so all I've got is a 18 volt DeWalt, so I can't make that stuff budge right now. So we'll have to let it soak in like PB Blaster and maybe talk about it another day. So to the passenger side. Alright, we managed to get this bad boy out. This was a bigger pain in the ass than the other side. So, unfortunately, with this side, I was fighting the headers. So, I had to use a standard wrench. Really just nice 3/4 inch wrench like this, but it's just short. I was leaning over and there was a lot to do. Whew, especially the first one. I actually used a regular wrench just to bust them loose. It was a little bit longer than the stock one, but I couldn't use a ratchet at all. So luckily I had that, which helped, but man, that was a pain in the butt to get out. Old rusty bolts are, man, you just kind of fight them. Even towards the end, you still running into all that crap that's on the threads, and it just wants to fight you. But I got my new spring perch put on here, and we're ready to install this bad boy. I'm trying to decide if I want to wait and at least grease it up first, or at least the ends. So I might wait until this weekend. That way I can just, not have to worry about it, because everything's so tight in here. It's going to be hard to get into those grease fittings, even with the stupid holes they cut. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey everybody, we're back out here to do this chaotic mess. So I got my upper control arms all greased and about to finally put this passenger side in. So we're going to focus more on the suspension today. Imagine that. It's only been 3-4 days of suspension work. So continue it on. So it's Saturday, so hopefully we can get a lot done today. So I've got all day to work on it. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get to it. All right, we got this lower control arm out. That was a royal pain in the ass. Oh, it was a struggle, but we got it out. Now we got to put the new one in. So, woohoo, back to work. All right, so there it is. Springs in. Our my camera stopped recording, but we've got our UCA's greased. We've got our ball joints greased. I do gotta still grease the bottom ball joint, but other than that, this side is completely done, other than putting the splash guard back on there. I mean, other than, you know, well, I lied. I still got to put the bushings on the sway bar and, you know, retorque the the adjuster bar here. Why the fuck am I blanking? Strut rod. Yeah. So the strut rod's got to be put back in place and the alignments all got to be done. But this whole side is complete. LCAs, UCAs, springs, shocks, spring perch. Booyah! Back to the other side. All right, here we are. All new UCAs and LCAs. I adjusted the eccentric and got it to a good alignment spec. So I've got basically a negative 0.25 camber and 2.5 inch caster. So looks pretty good. Front to back, everything's torqued down now. I need to put my plates on, but other than that, we're good to go for a ride. So, oh wait, yeah, and I gotta wait for my sway bar bushing end link. So we're not good to go for a ride, but we got stuff together. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning into this week's episode. We got the full front suspension done, got a basic alignment on it, and pretty much are ready to take it to an alignment shop to really get it dialed in good. I think it's going to make a huge difference. It's just something we need to get done before the power tour, just to make sure. So that's where we are right now. We got plenty more to do. I still got to get the dash pad into it. I took it for a drive yesterday at night. The lighting's good in the car, except for the gauges without the dash pad, you know, kind of reflect on the glass, so that's a little bit of an issue. But we've got plenty more to keep going, so make sure to tune in next week. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you want to see. So until next week.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till you